this is Zeb from Biogenetics. I'm the sales manager here, and I'm going to introduce Brad Watts. He's part of our scientific team and one of our consultants for the company itself.
Hi, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Excited to be here. A little Q&A action. Let's do it.
Okay, great. So here are some of the questions that we come across from doctors and their staff. The first one is, what sets Biogenetics apart from other supplement companies? What makes them special? What makes us as Biogenetics different?
Absolutely a great question, and I get it all the time, and the answer is our heart. No, the answer is that it's actually the technology. So the technology that Biogenetics utilizes is unparalleled in the marketplace, whether it be the blends. We don't use any fillers. All of the products we can trace back to the exact farm that they were produced from. We, like with the BioGmax lineup that we have, which is a subsection of our supplements, we actually utilize something called liposomal technology, and it's unparalleled in the marketplace today. There are a lot of companies that use liposomal, but not a lot of companies that are willing to publish the data behind it. And that's one of the things I love about Biogenetics. The technology, the liposomal technology, is kind of like taking a nutrient and wrapping it in a bubble, Zeb. And that bubble crosses membrane barriers without being digested, meaning we don't need your stomach to absorb this stuff. And that's kind of cool. So you put it in your mouth, and it starts getting into your bloodstream through the walls of the mucosa in your mouth here. And it's pretty amazing how it works. But the bubbles are very, very tiny, and they're controlled, and they're produced in a manner that allows us to have predictability with absorption rates. So in a typical supplement, let's say like vitamin C, you're going to have less than a 50% absorption rate, like through a powder or a capsule. But with our liposomal technology, we can start driving that up above 80%. That's amazing. So every $10 that you spend on a supplement, traditionally, you're going to be absorbing less than $5 worth of value. And it's kind of a crappy exchange rate in the long run, whereas with Biogenetics products, we're starting to push the envelope on that, and it's pretty fun. So that's the main thing that I think is the technology, and that's how my brain works. So that's what I'm going to tell you.
That's awesome. That's great. That's exactly what I wanted to know. Okay, good. And then on another question that we come across a lot when using the Biogenetics kits, like the Brain Box or the Regenerative Kit or the Pain Kit, why do you also recommend that somebody does a metabolic clearing kit, like usually after or during that as well?
Yeah, good question as well. The metabolic clearing kit is usually the place that we start with most new patients. And the reason is that if you can't detox, there are 3 phases to detoxification. If you can't detox, then it doesn't matter what we fix in the human body. It's ultimately going to be a problem once again. So I like patients getting well and staying well. It's not necessarily the best business model ever, but it works here. And I think that's important to make sure that you're operating with integrity. And so when you support a patient's ability to detox down phase 1, 2, or 3 liver detoxification mechanisms, what happens is you're really opening up their ability to control inflammation. And unless you've been living under a rock as a provider, you know that inflammation is ultimately what you're battling against, whether it be diabetes or whether it be low back pain. Inflammation is where it's at. And so your body processes inflammation through 3 different mechanisms. And so you have 3 detox mechanisms, right? You have your kidneys, your liver, and your skin. And your liver is the most efficient one. Your liver is tasked with the biggest workload. And so what we try to do is we try to support our patients with information right out of the clinical literature, right into the products, and then the herbs, obviously, that are blended into these products will promote proper detox reactions. So you got to clear everything out before you start fixing things. Kind of like if you're going to renovate your house, you got to get the stuff out of there before you can start fixing it up. Otherwise, it's just a mess and everything gets destroyed. And that's unfortunately what you see in the marketplace today with supplements, is people taking things that are good for. I call it the good for syndrome, right? Which is this. Oh, take this. It's good for headaches. Okay. Is it good for me? That's what I want to know, right? Is it good for me? It's good for headaches. So this is good for energy. It doesn't matter. I want to know, is it good for me? And so Biogenetics' approach is really to support with detox first. And then you can weave your way into actually targeting the other issues, whether you're supporting patients with regen therapy or you're working on a hot L5 disc or something like that, and they need pain support, whatever it might be. So that's really what it is clean out the inflammation first, then get to the reconstruction aspects.
Okay, and that pretty much sort of tags on to my next question. It pretty much answers it, but how would you recommend a practitioner explain to their patients why the metabolic clearing kit should be included as part of the overall solution whenever they have patients come see them?
Yeah, typically I explain it as triage, and ultimately, let's say you're coming to me because you want me to help you with your blood sugar, and that's great. And that's something that biogenetics is completely geared toward. But I'm not going to just give you some stuff to hammer down your blood sugar. Your medical doctor can do that, right? What I want to do is ultimately I want to get to the reasons behind the condition. And usually what I'll say is something like this: Zeb, don't take this the wrong way, but I don't really care that you need help with your blood sugar. I want to know why, right? I don't care what it is. I want to know why it's there. And ultimately I'm going to work toward that, removing the reasons why. That's the key.
That's awesome, because you got to take the whole piece of it and get it to shift, or else it's going to keep on falling back into its original position, which is what led the person to be unhealthy in the first place, is my understanding of that. With that,
that's 100%. That's exactly what we're doing, is we're trying to impact their physiology. And sometimes with impact, it's not just what you add, you also have to remove things. And so if you are experiencing any level of the biogenetics education library, you'll notice that most of the things in there are lifestyle plus your DNA is going to equate to your health outcomes. And that's really the heart of natural health care. And so that's, everything is geared that we do. Everything is geared to honor that equation.
Awesome. Good. Another question. Here's a question I get asked actually every time we have somebody complete a metabolic clearing kit, which is this kit something that can be used as a maintenance program? Is it, or how frequently should it be used? Is it something that someone should do over and over again, and in what kind of frequency?
That's right. So unfortunately, my answer is it depends. So here's what it depends on. If you are somebody that is prone, because of your genetics and your lifestyle, prone to decreased detoxification reactions, where you're just not maintaining your health or your physiology, where your weight goes up, it goes down. Every January is like, all right, I'm going to lose 20 pounds this year. And every year it's the same thing. And then somewhere in July is when the 20 pounds comes back on. What you want to do is you want to revamp your ability to detox. You want to support those detoxification pathways the same way that, you don't just clean your house once a year. And if you did, I suppose you could, but that'd be kind of a rough way to live. The same deal with your physiology is you want to be able to clean out your physiology, give it some support, like quarterly would be ideal. Quarterly. If you're somebody that's working like on chronic disease, cognitive decline or thyroid disease, something like that, you may want to maintain your detox pathways a little bit more strictly, and that's cool too. But if you go through a detoxification protocol like a metabolic clearing kit, in general, 3 times a year would be like, anybody can do that. Anybody. So, yeah. Perfect.
That's awesome. That's good. I had been wondering about that answer because I couldn't answer it for anybody yet.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, good. So the next one I have, it's a funny one. It's, when does somebody reach that stage where they are now healthy? They're done having to do the health hunt. When do they know? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. And it's usually when people are satisfied. Like I have some family members, that I look at and be like, oh, they're ill, but they're like, I'm fine compared to my neighbor, right? And so the point is that it's all relative. And so for some people like myself, it's my passion. I'm never done. I'm always looking at new and different things, and it really is a passion. So For patients, what I found is that you want to make sure that you're meeting them where their passion is at. If you are hounding them and you're just a dog, just hounding them, they're not going to like you very much, right? And you got to be able to match what their interest level is. And most of the time, the media does that job for you of pushing some level of interest in maintaining health. And I think that the generations that are experiencing their grandparents or maybe their parents, the baby boomer generation, destroying their physiology. So people that are younger than that, they're like all about it. Let's take care of this. I do not want to go down the same road that my dad or my grandpa did. What a mess, right? On 15 different medications. Nobody wants to live like that. So I think that you're seeing a younger generation get excited about taking care of the health, and it's becoming a lifestyle rather than like a wah, wah, I have to go to the doctor. So yeah, so I think it's an evolving thing, definitely.
Cool. All right. Well, okay. I have another question, and this is particularly involving you and some of the things that you do that are outside of, but sort of pair with biogenetics. You have a Nutritional Hero show, and I've always wanted to know, like, what do I, for instance, like, what would I or a practitioner or their staff have to do to be considered what your definition would be for like a hero? How do I achieve that too?
Sure. So what's funny, because the podcast started out and it was never designed for me to say, look, I'm the nutrition hero, anything like that. Really what the podcast is about the people that are listening and implementing the information in their community, right? And you guys are the nutrition heroes. And so really how do you measure that? Impact. If it affects your life, it's going to spill over and affect somebody else's, right? It's going to. It absolutely is going to. And so like on the podcast, I'm getting ready to record an episode today with a doctor, and I get to talk to these crazy doctors from all over the country that they have a story, they have something that has impacted their community, and they have a platform to share it. And that's the Nutrition Hero podcast. And it's fun because really it's highlighting all the different ways that people in the natural healthcare arena are impacting their communities and changing people's lives, because that's ultimately what it's about. Like, at the end of anybody's career as a nutritionist or a nutrition coach or a doctor or whatever, the only thing that's going to matter, the only thing you're going to look at, you're not going to be like, hey, look at all this money we made, right? No, it's not what it's going to be about. All you're going to remember is that kid you helped, right, with all the acne on his face. All you're going to remember is that guy that was about to lose his kidneys, and and you're able to help him save his kidneys and avoid the transplant list. Like, that's really what you're going to remember. And that's really what the show is about, is highlighting that type of stuff, so that hopefully it's inspiring. But then number two, getting new and different ideas out there that stimulate you to serve your community in ways that you wouldn't have otherwise.
That makes sense. That answers my question. So,
sure.
But now, if I were to give a shirt to every nutritional hero, basically, if they get on your show and they presented what they did or how they had it, or they go over something and they're getting that out, they're doing that work, they would qualify for that.
Yeah, not even the people that are on the show. It's the listeners that I get most excited about, because those are the people that are in the trenches serving patients every day and applying this nutritional science, or natural healthcare even, applying it to their patient base. And like, that's the thing, right? Like, you could email, we'll just start making a list. If you're going to give t-shirts out, just email brad@biogenetics.com and we'll sort it out. But the point is that it's the people that are listening to the podcast that actually implement. Those are the people that are the heroes. Like, nobody ever gets well because of some scientist in the lab, right? Yeah, they might, but that's like years down the road. But being able to sit knee to knee with somebody and even just impact them for a minute, change their life for a minute. You might change the trajectory of some little kid's life. That little kid might turn out to be a scientist, might turn out to be a president, right? And you all know that politicians could use better nutrition, as witnessed, right? And so, but the point is that it's like, that that impact that you're having on somebody in your community, how many more people are they going to impact? It's like the ultimate domino effect. It's so fun. And it might not be for 10 years, might not be for 20, might not be for 80 years, but it's going to happen at some point. And Biogenetics is really cool because it's a company, like the reason I consult the Biogenetics is that it's a company that has that in mind. Like, it's really about impact. We are light, we're mobile, but we're fierce. And I think that's the fun part is the impact is pretty fun. So
how does one write in to the Nutritional Hero to suggest topics for discussion?
Yeah, so if you want to write into the Nutrition Hero podcast, you can do two things. One, you could email Brad at biogenetics.com. Or number two, you can follow us on the YouTube, and you can put some suggestions in there as well, and we'll follow up with that. So those would be the two ways to do it. Sometimes people are shy and they don't want to just email me, and so YouTube is an easier way to do that.
Cool. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Brad. Appreciate it.